As we said earlier, although there are over 4.5, 5, probably getting towards 5 million cameras in the UK alone, public acceptance is very high. So we have spent the best part of 30 years being blown up by someone somewhere one time or another. So if it's a choice of being blown up or having a couple of extra cameras watching you, I think most people in the UK say, yeah, I'll go for the cameras. So acceptance is high, and when we do have significant issues or incidents, that's when the level of coverage becomes apparent. We had the 7/7 London bombs, and within the square mile around where the first bomb went off, it turned out that there was over 1,000 DM systems in that square mile alone. The amazing, shocking thing was that over 70% of them were in fact still tape-based multiplexer systems. We've effectively barely, I think it was probably 6 years ago that we're selling any quantity at all of tape-based multiplexers. But there's still around that single incident there were 600-700 DM tape-based systems. So this actually highlights that any decisions we take today, they're going to live with us for a long time. If we're at the stage that a new generation or era of CCTV is developing, by the time it's developed to become established, it's going to be with us for probably at least 5 to 10 years' time in one form or another. So if we get it wrong now, we've got a long time to reflect on what we got wrong and why we need to do something differently. We've also obviously in the UK last year. It was last year. We also had the big robbery in Kent, and it was a delightful one to have people saying, CCTV's moved on since the days of Jamie Bulger. How amazingly good the images were, and I'm delighted to say that those were from our equipment. So at least we have tackled the problem of the neglected tape recorder with the 18-month-old tape. And in fact, in both of those cases, both the London bombings, they were able to collate sufficient information quickly enough to prevent the further attacks. And of course, in the case of the Kent robbery, yes, they caught them. Didn't get too much of the money back, but at least they caught them. So it was a reasonably good result. So, who are AD Group and how and where do we operate? The headquarters AD Group is in the UK, just the west of Manchester, but we do have offices worldwide. We've got offices in the US, in both Washington DC and Atlanta. We have offices throughout Europe. We have offices in the Middle East. We have offices in Singapore and Australia. So we have a pretty good reach of where at one time zone or another you can get hold of someone within the DM world for support. At the moment, around 550 employees around the world. We do everything in-house. We manufacture in-house. We design in-house. So it does end up as a substantial organisation as a result. And in-house manufacturing facilities are actually based in Malta. Many of the benefits of offshore cost-based manufacturing, but with a very pro-European English-speaking workforce, very, very conscientious, and it helps over the last 15, 18 years since we started the Malta factory to try and maintain very high standards of manufacture. Looking back at those 700 tape systems that are still there in the City of London, perhaps we overdid it a bit. Perhaps we shouldn't have made them last quite that long, because by now we should perhaps have been selling them new machines. But we'll look to that one for the future. Because of those tape machines, many of them are now well over 10 years old, which is, I think, again, a testament to the quality of the build that our people achieve. And we do final assembly in both the UK and the USA for specific markets. As I said earlier, all of our hardware and software is developed in-house, including the core DNA of the DSP in Boston. So, that's a bit of background. What is it we're actually trying to do? Why are we here? Why do we feel that you should work with us, use our equipment? What is our mission? In the mid-90s, we did our ISO 9000 application, and it was the first time that someone said, have you got a mission statement? Oh, bloody hell, that's all a bit detailed as far as we're concerned. Board meetings was more than 3 people in the corridor, and things of that nature at that stage. So someone demanding a written mission statement was set forth. We've all got our thinking caps as well. What is it that we do? What is it that we're trying to do? And it's interesting that that statement has stood up very well. What we put as our mission statement was to use maximum innovation to provide products and services which meet or exceed our user expectations and provide them with exceptional ROI. A very lofty statement, but what did that mean in real terms? Why did we make that statement then? One of the other things you may not be aware of with dedicated micros is our first product was actually an accounting timing computer for snooker halls, pool halls, as you've been in American parlance. It was the point at which snooker was transitioning from being the sort of smoky hole underneath the town hall to more of a social club environment, and the slot meter on the wall was deemed as not the appropriate image for someone who was trying to compete with the tennis club, the squash club sort of social status. So they went then to controlling the tables from behind the bar, and many of them were just keeping a simple book as to what time someone went on the table, what time they went off, and worked the charge out at £2.50. Sorry, £1.50 an hour, or whatever it was, because it was their mate or their brother or their uncle or their uncle's brother or whatever. So the problem there was that it was a 24-hour operation. Inevitably, typically minimum wage staff through the night, and the scope for losses were high, and people wanted a better solution. And people started putting little sort of timers and counters, totalizers, right to switch, at least they knew how long the lights had been on for. We took a different approach. We used maximum innovation to provide a product. We actually took a microprocessor board with a Teletext style 40 by 25 display. Bearing in mind this was 1982, so this is around the era that things like the ZX81 were coming out, and things of that nature. So for an application of this nature, quite innovative. And people said, oh, that's going to be too expensive, we don't want to to do that. We said, well, let's just sit down and talk about this. The way we've written the unit is the moment the light turns on, your £1.50 an hour is 2.5p a minute. The first 2.5p's there straight away. Even with the guy who's honest behind the desk, you can guarantee they'll round down to the nearest minute, not up to the nearest minute. More likely round down to the nearest 5 minutes, and if it's the mate, they'll probably round 5 minutes to one end and 5 minutes to the other end, so you've lost 6, 7, 8 minutes. So you're guaranteed to get at least 2.5p more per transaction. The typical soup club had 12, 15, 20 tables, 8, 9, 10 transactions a day, 7 days a week. You do the maths, and you suddenly come up with about £18, £20. Our unit on a 3-year lease was about £12.5 a week. Immediate guaranteed return. Now, of course, the reality was that it did the job very well. It was hugely accepted, and the real returns were 16, 17, 18, £100 a week, even in the clubs where there wasn't, in fact, a serious loss problem. And I think the most spectacular was one in Sunbury. That the club owner was, in fact, our biggest problem was actually getting the leasing, because this club was relatively busy but losing money hand over fist, and was in severe danger.